Okay, so it is 5:02, and I will call to order the March meeting of the Bloomington Board of Park Commissioners. And Kim, could you start us with a roll call, please?
Kathleen Mills.
Here.
Ellen Rodkey.
Here.
Jim Whitlatch.
Here.
Israel Herrera.
Here.
Okay, so we do have all four members here today, and a big crowd of people who like to see the Parks Board. So we go into the Section B, Public Hearings and Appearances. So Emily Book will be up. Oh, no, sorry, we didn't do A. First up then is A, the consent agenda, which we usually take these all in one motion. So do we have someone who wants to make a motion?
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, that motion is carried. And then we will move into Section B and the Bravo Award with Emily Book here to present. She's on the other side.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Emily Book, Community Relations Coordinator, and we would like to recommend Isidore Torrey for the March Bravo Award. I would like to recognize Isidore with this award in recognition of his volunteerism as Santa at our annual Winter Wonderland event. Isidore has volunteered as Santa at Winter Wonderland, a joint event with the Community and Family Resources Department, for the past 3 years. His portrayal of Santa is a highlight of the event that resonates with kids and adults of all ages. He has been a key player in creating holiday magic and memories for countless families in the Mandarker community. We are especially grateful for the representation he gives the children as a Black man portraying Santa, showing them that they belong in this beloved holiday photo tradition. We are very grateful for his volunteerism in our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Parks and Recreation, City of Bloomington, Community and Family Resource Department, and to all the friends and family in the past that has supported me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isidore.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then we will move into our Section C, which is our other business. So we have a number of contracts and agreements tonight. And I should say, since it seems like we have quite a few people who don't normally come to the meeting, we do always have public comment time here at the end. So we'll try and be swift so you won't have to wait too long if you wanted to make a comment. So first up in C1 is the partnership with IU for the Grand Falloon concerts at Switchyard Main Stage. Leslie Brinson.
Good evening, Leslie Brinson, Recreation Division Director. I'm here today to recommend the approval of a cooperative partnership agreement with Indiana University for Grand Falloon Concert Series at Switchyard Park. The Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department will be managing contracts, scheduling initial payments of fencing, portable restrooms, and potential shade structures with reimbursement from Indiana University. This is the first year of what we hope will be a multi-year partnership agreement with Indiana University for this concert series. The Grand Falloon Concert Series at Switchyard Park will host 3 ticketed concerts, June 20th, July 18th, and August 29th on the main stage at Switchyard Park. The university will be responsible for all organizational and event tasks, including items associated with the performances, ticketing, and the general event area. The Parks Department will manage contracts associated with parking, fencing, portable restrooms, having all those costs associated be reimbursed by IU. We are also working with IU to invest in infrastructure improvements for the stage and lawn area. Right now, we're trying to focus on shade structure improvements, but a final determination of that project has not been completed. In this agreement, IU has guaranteed a financial commitment that will go towards future work in the lawn, but not knowing exactly that timeline, we have built in just a dollar amount as a hold for that financing right now. This programming, we feel, fills a gap in our current concert series and offerings in the park while also supporting a larger economic development investment with the city of Bloomington. I do have IU here, Ed Kamatali, to answer some questions from IU side.
Sure, yeah. Thank you. I'll just say that the Grand Falloon was founded in 2018. The first Grand Falloon was held in the parking lot of Upland Brewery, and it has expanded every year since. If you were here last summer, you saw it out on Kirkwood, but we've outgrown that space as well. It's always meant to be a program that was dedicated to building up the arts and culture summer calendar, as well as creating experiential learning opportunities for students, and then also boosting businesses in the region. And so we're really excited to kind of, I think this is sort of the apotheosis of our relationship with the city, moving into Switchyard Park, investing in the park, investing in the region, and really kind of giving back to the community at large with the proceeds from the tickets that we're selling.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions, though.
Ed, I just wondered, is this more, I'm trying to remember from last year or year before, is this more the 3 separate concerts? Is this more than you've had in the past?
It's always been multi-venues, but over one weekend, and
Right.
we are stretching it out over 3 months. So a concert each month in June, July, and August, which we hope will boost attention and attendance. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, the 4-year partnership was my question. Is this an initial year as a trial and then the partnership will renew, or is this, because it says we hope will be a 4-year partnership?
I mean, I think the intention is for it to be long-term. Each year, I think the investment part of it will change, or the
Okay.
infrastructure potential will change. So that's why I said hopeful, but I do think our intention is for it to stay in the park and continue to grow. And the partnership might change a little bit, again, kind of based on that infrastructure
Okay.
concept.
Makes sense, thanks.
Okay, any other questions for Leslie or for Ed? Okay, all right. Do you wanna move?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the partnership with IU for the Grand Falloon concert at Switchyard Main Stage.
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion is carried. Thank you, Leslie and Ed. And in C2, Rebecca Swift's first item is a contract with Monroe LLC for construction of the Power Line Trail.
That's right. You heard it here, folks. Rebecca Swift, Operations Director, here to recommend a contract with Monroe LLC for the construction of the new Power Line Trail that will be located in the Duke Power Line easement just across the street from Switchyard Park. I can go into the details of the project, but really for the sake of this, they were the lowest of 5 bids received at a total of $637,775. This will be paid out of the bicentennial bond, and really looking forward to building this summer,
Okay.
spring, summer.
All right, any
Happy to answer any questions.
questions for Rebecca? No, I don't think so.
Make a motion to approve the contract with Monroe LLC for construction of the Power Line Trail.
Second.
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion is carried. And then Rebecca has more items. Yes, C3, contract REA for construction inspection services for the Power Line Trail. Yes.
Correct. So this one is not about construction, but more the inspection part of this large project, knowing that it involves a lot of different steps, inspection of the pouring before the gravel and the asphalt. We have glow rock going in, a lot of things to stay on top of. So we're looking to hire REA to help support construction inspection services, as well as provide some on-the-ground technical services when needed. We've worked with them in the past and are really happy with the services they've provided. So really looking to recommend us hiring REA for some construction services, not to exceed $124,950.
Okay, so that's kind of a top end of the price, possibly? Okay,
Correct.
Okay.
Not to exceed, but hopefully they will not use all those hours allocated to them.
right. Okay, all right. Any questions on C3? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with REA for construction inspection services.
Second?
All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is carried for C3 and C4. Finally, Rebecca has the agreement with GTE MobileNet Verizon for Ops Center Cell Tower lease extension.
That's a mouthful. For the sake of it, we'll call it Verizon Wireless. We are extending the lease agreement. We do have a cell tower located at our ops center, and so we do generate some non-reverting funds from that cell tower. So this is just an extension. It was time to update the lease agreement for another 15 years. So ran this through our legal, their attorneys, and we were able to come up with this lease agreement.
Okay. All right, any questions about?
Have we determined what fair market value rental is for it? Did we look at the rental amount, or?
I have not looked at the rental amount, no.
Okay. I'm just thinking with the 50, I don't know what I have no idea what the going rate is for those, but I just
Right.
wondered if we'd considered that in re-upping the lease.
We don't set the rental rate, so I don't know if we have control over that. I know the only thing that we have to agree that we won't redevelop, relocate, or sell the rental rights to anybody else. But I don't know that we even get to dictate what that cost is, that rate is. Does,
I mean, they're using our towers,
Yeah.
aren't they?
right, right.
I assume
We didn't
can
look at it
tell them
specifically
if we
this
don't
year.
want to re-up the lease.
We didn't look at it specifically this year, but we have in recent years and found it to be in line, acceptable, to the point where we didn't feel like we needed to. This was just sort of a formality, and there's a built-in escalator year over year in it too. So we didn't feel the need to dive deeply into that this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Verizon for the cell tower lease extension.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion is carried. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
And in C5, Sean Marlar has the agreement with Green Dragon for 2026 switchyard mowing.
Good evening. Sean Marlar, Recreation Facilities General Manager, here to recommend for approval the 2026 Switchyard Park mowing contract to be awarded to Green Dragon, Inc. The total area to be mowed is a little larger than in the past, as we have changed over some space from natural landscaping to grass, and we've identified some other areas we'd like them to mow. The new size is approximately 17.2 acres, which is an increase from the 15.6 previous acres. The per cycle quote was $1,000.32, which comes out to $60 an acre. Typically during the year, we do about 26 to 30 cycles starting sometime in April. The not to exceed amount is $33,025. This year, we did have a record number of bidders in the process. Typically, we only get 2 to 3. This year, we had 6, of which Green Dragon was the lowest. Green Dragon is also the company that has won the bid in the past. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay. You said it sounds like maybe 2 acres switched over from a landscaping situation. Is this just a better use of that space, or?
It was partly that, and also partly there was an area to the south near the college entrance or Walnut entrance, that typically in the past we hadn't been mowing, and we decided to start mowing. So
Okay.
it was a combination of those two, and that space alone was about an acre.
Right, okay. And I'd just like to point out that Parks does some of its own mowing as well, but.
Correct. There are
it's-
some small spots that we
Yeah.
still mow ourselves because it's not cost-effective to have Green Dragon do it, and we'll also come in and mow before a certain event if the need be.
Sure, okay. All right, any questions for Sean?
No, I think a cursory search of $60 an acre is a really competitive rate, so.
It
it's
is. Like
really
I
good.
said, there were 6 bids, and the fact that we've enjoyed having Green Dragon in the past, the fact that they were still the lowest bid, I think says a lot about us getting a good price for good work.
Yeah, okay. I'll make a motion to approve the service agreement with Green Dragon for 2026 switchyard mowing.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is carried in C5. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
And then Haskell Smith has C6, which is the MOU with Gray Star for in lieu tree planting.
Good afternoon. Haskell Smith, Urban Forester. This is review and approval of a memorandum of understanding between Parks and Rec, Planning and Transportation, and Gray Star Development for off-site tree planting for the Fell Iron property, which is the BIM, currently BIM over there. Staff recommends the approval of this memorandum of understanding between all parties. The Fell Iron property had some UDO planning requirements they couldn't quite meet with on-site planting and still developing the property to its full potential, so they kind of pitched an idea of off-site planting, worked with them and the planning department to kind of get to these numbers. Gray Star's been through some BZA meetings already. This tree planting is conditional to their occupancy permit at the end of when it's all said and done. I think out of the 143 trees, about 40 of them are street trees, and the rest have to contribute to closed canopy. So these will work in the areas that we're trying to restore to forest. Butler Park being probably the closest one to that. Happy to answer any questions that I can.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Haskell about this planting?
So which high schools are involved in this? High schools, which ones? All the high schools?
No, I think that's not this.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not this one.
My
This
next
is
one,
the-
canopy.
This is tree planting for.
Well, the first tree planting, but yeah, you're talking about the second, the C7,
canopy.
I think, is the high schools.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So that's for the next one?
yes, coming up. So,
Did y'all have any questions?
No.
no.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the MOU with Gray Star for in lieu tree planting.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
C7 motion is carried, and then, okay, then on to the next one. Haskell has the partnership with Canopy Bloomington for 2026 Youth Tree Tenders Program.
Yes, this is a continuation of our Youth Tree Tenders program. Again, it's paid from funds from the Economic and Sustainability Department, not to exceed $13,000. This partnership hires about 10 high school students throughout the season. They work, I think, 40 to 60 hours over their summer, working on trees, mulching, pruning, watering, root ground excavation, all those things. It's from either high school, any high school. Canopy Bloomington handles all the outreach and hiring and all that good stuff. At some point, I usually come in and do some sort of educational aspect to it. But I think this is our fifth year, something like that. But we've all told there are over 600 trees that have been worked on, I think, just in the last few years.
Okay. And you don't have any trouble getting students to participate in the program?
The first year was a little rocky, but it seems like it's been pretty consistent, 4 or 5 application, or their student base. Ava's not mentioned any struggles with it.
Okay. All right, great, yeah.
Does Canopy take care of kind of the student recruitment and all of that, and you just have to show up to provide the training and?
Yeah, I mean, basically Canopy Bloomington handles everything. Start to finish on the work. I tell them what trees to work on and kind of check up to make sure they're doing all the good right things. But Canopy pretty well handles everything.
Yeah, that's great. It's a good partnership. I'll make a motion to approve the partnership with Canopy Bloomington for 2026 Youth Tree Tenders.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion is carried, and then it's tree season. Haskell has a few more items. C8 2026 first quarter urban forestry risk report.
Yes.
There's a lot of dead trees in that risk report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not even all of them. Those are the ones we're going to try to focus on. Haskell Smith, Urban Forester. This is the first quarter risk report for 2026. I added some tables from last year, kind of tried to spruce it up a little bit. I won't spend too much time going over anything in here, but currently we're working on tree grates right now with 7 new grate installations. I think we've got 6 of those in already. And then the 49 sites, we are looking at working through as many of those as we can currently.
Okay. And I noticed that even though there's a lot of dead trees on the list, most of them are not listed as a sort of immediate hazard. Is that, I assume that just where they're located, if they were to collapse, they're not going to...
Yeah, so generally the risk rating has a few things built into the matrix, likelihood to fail, likelihood of contact with the target, and then consequence. So it may be that it could fall, but it's going to fall on nothing that matters, field.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Haskell?
Well, I guess, so does that mean those trees are in low risk category, or are they higher risk for falling, but we're just not as concerned about? Am I looking at the right one?
I see I didn't put the risk ratings on here. Actually, I believe, oh yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it's
Yeah,
like this
moderate.
small, yeah.
We're out of high-risk trees,
Yeah.
as according to tree keepers. So now we're getting into the moderate, and I figure the dead ones are the ones we should start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keeping track of 24,000 trees is pretty impressive, so.
If
Great
it
job.
wasn't for the software, I wouldn't know where to begin.
Okay.
Well,
All
that's
right.
great.
Any other questions for Haskell?
Do we need to approve this? Okay. So I make a motion to approve the Q1 tree risk and reporting document.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion is carried. And then C9, finally for Haskell, is the agreement with Bluestone for storm resiliency pruning Phase 2.
Yeah, staff recommends the review and approval of the Phase 2 of the Storm Resilience Pruning Project. This is with Bluestone Tree LLC again. It is grant funded from an IRA grant that was passed through to American Forest, not to exceed $25,000. Basically, this is going around high priority streets and reducing risk. Hazard reduction pruning, or if a tree isn't good enough health, we'll put a cable in it. Or if it's got a bunch of dead branches in it, we'll deadwood it. And that's pretty much the short and skinny of it. The first phase pruned about 25 trees, which is much less than I anticipated. But there was some nasty stuff that got taken care of. And then looking at this one, I'm kind of figuring it's going to be around in that 25 to 30 trees again.
Okay. All right, well, that's certainly a good proactive thing to do, especially since we have more and more storms, seems like these days. Yeah. Okay. All right, and this is a federal grant. Any questions for Haskell? No?
All right,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Phase 2 of the Storm Resilience Pruning Project with Bluestone Tree.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is carried. Thanks, Haskell.
Thank you.
And then in C10, Julie Ramey has the Adopt a Roundabout Sponsorship Agreement template.
Good afternoon. I'm Julie Ramey, the Community Relations Manager for the Parks and Recreation Department. And the document for which I am seeking your approval today is a little bit different than some of the other things that you would typically look at. This is a template for a sponsorship agreement for the newly resurrected Adopt a Roundabout program. Parks and Recreation is responsible for the overall maintenance and landscaping in 3 different roundabouts, and the Public Works Department is responsible for maintenance of a 4th roundabout. So Joanna Sparks with our department, our Urban Green Space Coordinator, and Cassie Werney from the Department of Public Works, and I and Rebecca Swift put our heads together to come up with a program that would help financially support contractually managing vegetation and the overall upkeep of these 4 different roundabouts. So the template agreement that I seek your approval for today outlines the details of what will be a sponsorship agreement that hopefully we will be able to sign with businesses who are interested in sponsoring a roundabout. So like most agreements of this sort, it is the recognition that sponsor businesses are seeking. Not only do they want to help beautify Bloomington's gateways and entry points and areas of our city where there's a lot of traffic, but they also like to see their name out and get recognition for that support. So the sponsorship agreement outlines the details of what a sponsor will receive as a roundabout sponsor. It's dependent on the number of entry points to a roundabout. There are either 3 or 4 entries into each roundabout, and the pricing is based on the number of signs that a sponsor will receive when they sign on to adopt a roundabout. They can adopt 1 entry or all 4 and get the associated number of signs. So there's a lot of moving parts. Not only does the Board of Public Works need to also review and approve this sponsorship agreement, partnership agreement, but we're also working with traffic and engineering to ensure the correct placement of signage within the roundabout itself, within the rights of way, and the funding for the program will go directly for the roundabouts that Parks and Recreation manages. It will go directly to our urban green space area so that they can use the funding to contractually assist with the management and upkeep of our roundabouts. If anyone is interested in the TAP Rogers roundabout, that was the one that's managed by Public Works, and that funding will go to Public Works to help them manage the vegetation in that roundabout.
Okay. And am I right? I remember some sponsorship before, but then we sort of paused for a while, or is that?
We have resurrected the Adopt a Roundabout program. The program that we had in place wasn't working the way we had hoped. That program basically had volunteers in landscaping companies to agree to maintain a roundabout for a set period of time. But while intentions were good, when a company is in business and they're working and they have a kind of a freebie out there, it didn't tend to be the highest of priorities. And without any real skin in the game, it wasn't working the way that we had hoped. So we scrapped the original program, took the best parts of it, and built this formal partnership or sponsorship agreement.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, I was just trying to remember from before. I remember Les Coyne had some feelings about some of the roundabouts that he didn't feel were kept up as much as they should have before, so.
It's noteworthy that anyone who chooses to be an Adopt a Roundabout sponsor has no other responsibilities to the roundabout other than writing a check. Okay. So they do not go to the roundabout to pick up trash or pull weeds. There's no physical presence. They just get their sign, and we use the funding to beautify the roundabout.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Any questions for Julie?
I was just curious about the sign. I think as I read, the city will actually create the signage and install it. So this is is there any description you can provide of the signage? I assume it's not just like yard sign style.
It is not. We have a maximum size for the sign based on the sign ordinance of the city, and then working on the details of the actual sign size and height with the traffic and engineering folks, again, line of sight and traffic in a roundabout. So we haven't landed on exactly what it's going to look like yet. So not just white text on a blue background. My vision is a stylistic roundabout with a logo, this roundabout adopted by, and a company name. So simple as you're driving by, it's not too distracting, but still gives our sponsors recognition.
Okay.
Besides the roundabout, are there other sponsorship options similar to this, like at baseball fields or other parks facilities?
We have advertising opportunities at Winslow Sports Complex. There are signage, banners, advertising at Twin Lakes Recreation Center. But beyond, and also at the Frank Southern Ice Arena, we sell banners and advertising there. So it's similar to our advertising programs, but we are actually asking for an adopt a roundabout, shoehorning it into our other adopt a programs. And it's sort of a combination, I guess, of advertising and adoption.
Thank you.
So several companies can sponsor one roundabout, but no one company can sponsor all the roundabouts.
A company can sponsor every single roundabout if they want to. And it's not exclusive. So if a roundabout has 4 entry points, the Sarah Rogers roundabout is a good example. There's 4 entries and exit points to that roundabout. If one company wants to buy all 4, there's a price point for that, and those price points are part of the partnership agreement or the sponsorship agreement. If they only want 1 sign, then they get 1 entry, they get their sign in 1 place, but there's no exclusivity unless a company wants to buy all of them, or all 4 entry points.
There could be 4 in one.
It could be 4, one company could sponsor the entire roundabout if they wished.
If they wish. And I see that, well, there are some companies that are restricted, but it doesn't show anything about educational ones. So any university or any educational organization can sponsor the roundabout.
The agreement does, the template outlines the types of businesses that we do and do not permit to be a part of the program. So political advertising, for example, we wouldn't take like a political ad for a sponsor for the roundabout. Companies that make a certain percentage of their income from alcohol or tobacco sales, those kinds of things. And all those restrictions are outlined in the agreement.
And remind me, the signage would be something that would come or approved by the department, or the organization can come up with the design and you approve it?
All of the signs will be designed and fabricated by Parks and Recreation. So we'll work with the adopter on their logos and the way that they want their company name to appear, but we'll take all of the responsibility for producing the sign and getting it installed.
And for the renewal, the max time would be 1 year, and then revision of the interest of the company to continue, but that would be only limited to 1 year.
The current template is for a year. Does indicate that it is for 1 year. They get the first right of refusal for future requests or to keep their sign in a roundabout, and we will look at the success of that and how the year of exposure goes. We're hoping that as more traffic goes in and out of those roundabouts, they'll see signs and it'll promote itself, and ideally we'll have people standing in line wanting to adopt a roundabout.
Okay, all right.
All right, thanks, Julie. I'll make a motion to approve the Adopt a Roundabout sponsorship agreement template.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is carried. Thank you, Julie. And in C11, we have the agreement with the Bloomington Pickleball Club for 2026. Mark Sterner.
Good afternoon, Mark Sterner, General Manager of the Twin Lakes Recreation Center. Today I have the approval of the partnership with the Bloomington Pickleball Club. The Bloomington Pickleball Club, established in October of 2022, operates with the mission to promote recreational and competitive play while creating a positive and inclusive experience for all. As a part of its partnership with the city, BPC has granted exclusive use of the RCA Park pickleball courts from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday evenings from April through October. This 2-hour time period supports organized play, events, and tournaments for both adults and youth, helping to further introduce the sport to the Bloomington community. The only modifications to this year's agreement is the usage fee, which goes from $5 per court per hour to $7.50 per court per hour. And staff recommends approval.
Okay. All right, any questions about the pickleball agreement?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the partnership with Bloomington Pickleball Club.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion
Thank
is
you.
carried. Yep, thanks, Mark. And C12 is, that's the time of year for price schedule updates. So we have various staff members can tell us about updates for Twin Lakes, Frank Southern Center, aquatics, that sort of thing. So, let's see.
Good evening.
You're going to take this one.
Tim
Okay.
Street, Parks Director. I will go ahead and give the overview, and then we can
Okay.
have staff available for questions on any of these, since this is a multi-staff effort. We recommend approval of a certain amount of fee changes, as indicated in the table on the staff report. These are just periodic updates for the most part, and I will just kind of go through a high-level overview of the broad strokes of it, and then we can have staff come up for any specific questions. In the Ops Division, there's an update to a range of prices for memorial trees and benches, just based on material costs, and particularly the benches, what they are costing now, materials are going up. In Farmers Market, there's a number of fees that have been removed because there was a grandfather clause, as you can see in sort of the footnote at the bottom of the table there, that they are now timing out, I guess is the term I'm looking for. As well as an adjustment for the amount of farmers markets there are this year. There's one additional one based on how the calendar falls. So we have one extra Saturday this year. Sports Division, just removing a fee that is not being used. And then under our Sports Division as well, which would be Chris Hamrick on any of these items for Frank Southern, or for aquatics, there's a number of fee updates. Chris is doing a number of fee updates as he looks at the cost of things and cost recovery at the ice arena, and particularly some of the summer usage that we piloted a bit last year that has gone well, and we want to continue. Just continuing to find ways to generate revenue there to support the operation. And then a few aquatics fees, no change to the main aquatics fees. You know, the admission, we talked about that a lot last year. That is remaining consistent for this year. And of course, Chris will be back up after this to talk about the fee waiver policy and just some brief overview of aquatics numbers as it relates to this as well. But we can have any staff come up for questions as needed.
Okay. Well, just a couple of things stood out to me at Frank Southern. I mean, it looks like these are new, kind of interesting options. Jersey purchase, and then the gear purchase, I assume, would be like hockey skates and...
Yeah, so right now, the youth program, who has showed up quite abundantly here, they currently run the gear rental program for our house hockey program. We will be running the gear rental program going forward. And so as an attempt to offer an accessible entry point to house hockey, we want to keep house hockey as cheap as possible for an entry point, and then allow other options on top of that. So the gear rental program will be free as part of the house hockey program, but then we'll also offer at the back end, you really loved house hockey, you want to purchase your gear, then you can pay extra money if you decide to do that. So you have the accessible entry point while also having the option to spend more money if you would like to. And that's the same with the jersey purchase.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. And then for aquatics, oh, never mind, I see new toddler's fee for the swim lessons, is that?
Yeah, we're changing our guardian and toddler class a little bit. So we kind of found from last year that we had 9 days of classes. That's just a lot for a guardian and toddler. There's not a whole lot to do. It's about just getting the kid comfortable with the water and that kind of thing. So we shortened the class, and therefore we cut some of the price for it.
Well, as someone who took their kids to all 9 days and sang Wheels on the Bus, thank you. Yeah, it was too long,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
exactly.
appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, all right, so that's the aquatics portion, and Frank Southern.
I had a couple of questions since Chris is there. What's the difference? Like, it says adult hockey men's league, $300. Adult hockey men's league team sign up with 13 players, $250.
Yeah, so our goal this year is to get teams to sign up as a whole. So it's $300 if you're signing up as an individual. And then if you sign up as a team, you get a discount because we want to get whole teams together.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And yeah, I thought it was smart to change the lifeguard with the rental, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So well done on that piece. I have a couple other questions.
Go ahead.
For the trees and benches, sorry, Chris, that probably is not you. Is that our cost on it? What happens, if the tree falls and then you've got to replace it now? Or, I know it's hassle stuff, but I mean, but are we accounting for that if folks are, vandalism to a bench or whatever?
We do try to factor it in, but really it's the initial cost of the installation and the materials and the initial tree. I don't know if you actually filter in a replacement, but no, that is just par for the course of, we do anticipate some vandalisms, damage, also just weathering. Benches are a great example. Hopefully the tree just keeps growing and is healthy, but we don't put that on the person who's getting the memorial. However, there's no expectation where if the tree were to fail or die, I forget how many years, there is no replacement.
Okay, after a certain amount of time, we say after 3 years or whatever.
Correct. Same with replacing the memorial plaque. Those walk away sometimes too. We put in obviously we make them very heavy, we install them, so you can't just walk away, but there's no expectation for replacement forever to maintain that as a memorial tree.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess, and that's through us, it doesn't go through the foundation.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think the cost of installation of the bench too, the labor that I just would hope all of that's being accounted for.
The maintenance is probably the one thing we are shortcoming is the long-term maintenance, but we're definitely covering the overhead for the install, the purchase, and the initial investment.
Okay. And then on the farmer's market, so basically, Tim, you touched on this, but essentially, it's now $675 for a large space, $486 for a small space.
Yeah, so we didn't change the day rate, so it's still $25 a day or $18 a day. There's an extra Saturday, so there's 27 Saturdays this year as opposed to 26. But really, the difference is we removed a 10% fee. So in our attempts to kind of come back from COVID, we were giving farmers a discount if they reserved their space for the whole year, which gave them a 10% discount. It didn't really increase the number of reserved vendors. It really wasn't doing what we thought it would do, and so now we're kind of a little bit back to not full capacity, but closer. And so we've removed that 10%, which makes the jump look bigger, but ultimately the fee is the same, $25 and $18, just accounting that extra Saturday.
Yeah. That's all. Just making sure I could read a chart.
Okay. Any other questions about price schedule updates? No? Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve 2026 season fee changes.
Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. And then finishing out this section C, Chris Hamrick will also tell us the aquatics report and fee waiver policy update.
Hello, Chris Hamrick, Facility Manager at the pools here in town. We're recommending the approval of an updated policy for the fee waiver for the 2026 season. We're updating the fee waiver to include adults who are legally classified as children for public benefit purposes. This also updates the requirements for pool fee waivers to meet the federal standards. This allows us to not be checking people's income statements to see if they qualify or not. The federal government will do that for us, and then we just take their acceptance letter. This also updates to allow people to come in with one free adult supervisor with the qualifying participant instead of two.
Okay. All
And
right.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Seems wise to just streamline it to the federal standard. Yeah.
I think it's going to save a lot of admin staff time.
Yeah.
Not having to check all that stuff, and then it's just the federal standard. We don't have to determine what our standard is and all that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Any questions about the fee waiver for Chris? No.
Kathleen, if no questions, I do have
Yeah,
a
you have
public
the
comment.
public comment.
Just
Yeah.
to share. This is from Deborah Meyerson. We were emailing back and forth about potential policy updates, and she said, "Thank you for your reply. Both of these policy proposals sound excellent and responsive. Managing income eligibility via existing federal programs such as SNAP WIC Section 8 or SSI, which is targeted for disabled or aged with low income. Sounds like an excellent way to streamline internal application review while providing access to households with limited resources. For example, Samuel and his housemate each have SNAP and SSI, which is essentially their only income. Thank you so much for your help investigating how to manage the pool waiver. Samuel is already talking about when Bryant Park Pool opens this summer.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the fee waiver policy update.
Second?
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion is carried. Thanks, Chris. And then we will move into section D, where we have 2 reports this evening. And D1 is the Iraq annual report from, you're not Denise.
I'm not
No,
Denise.
from
So
Rebecca.
unfortunately,
Okay.
Denise had a scheduling conflict, so was unable to attend today.
Okay.
But we do this annually. We give an update from ERAC, which stands for the Environmental Resources Advisory Council. So we did still put forth the annual report from you all, included some photos. If you'd like, we could come back at a later date and present it to you all. There will also be an opportunity for our Natural Resources Manager. We're requesting that she give you all an annual update on natural resources management. So there's a lot of overlap in content there. But if you have any immediate questions or want anything clarified, I'm happy to answer. But for the sake of the wonderful crowd that showed up today, I think we're all eager to move on to the next agenda item. So with that, again, happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, if you would like, we can present it at another time or just call it good for your alls to review.
You mean you're going to skip talking about the insect inventory?
I know. No, I would happy to. Fine, we're
I
on.
also liked the chest measurements of deer taken during hunts.
Thank you. Guys, keep repeating that. Look at all the good science we take into account when decision making. So yes, insect inventories, chest height. But yes, feel free. I'll keep talking if you let me.
Okay.
And don't discount our bird town.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bird town, tree town, bee city.
Yeah.
Forgetting one.
Bicycle friendly.
Bicycle friendly,
Bicycle.
yeah. All right, yeah, no, thank you. There's a lot of good information in here, and we can always read this, and then if we want to follow up, that would be great. So,
Absolutely. You
okay.
do a lot of good work we're proud of, so thank you.
Okay. All right, thanks, Rebecca. And then in D2, we have the Frank Southern Ice Arena Risk and Operation Report, which Chris will go through with us and Tim. And also, again, just since we probably have some people here that don't usually come to the meeting, I'll just point out that this is strictly an informational report. We're not making any decisions or voting on anything. This is just that we get a sense of where things are with our beloved but aging ice arena. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, and Chris and I had talked earlier today and just said I would just help preface this a little bit, just to, yes, reemphasize that as well. That, this is an informational report that really we've been working on for a while now, considering if you count myself, if you count Keto, Chris, and Alec, we've all been in our respective positions for about less than 2 years. So basically a total reset in terms of how leadership oversees the operations of a lot of our sports facilities, including the ice arena. So we've been working on this report for the better part of, gosh, a year. I know Chris and Alec have met with IB Story, which is the rink consultant, a few times in there and explored some different options that we've talked about to the board. We've gotten some better clarity on some of the claims they've made about, you know, the unique old nature of the ice arena and been able to explain that better. And of course, I'll just mention that, you know, we of course were preparing this report before we had the ammonia leak a few weeks ago. So most of it was already prepared by that point, and we did go back in and amend, you know, a paragraph in there to kind of catch up with what we knew when we had to have the report done for this board meeting. And Chris can speak more to that and what we've discovered since. And then, you know, continuing to work with our mechanical contractor to identify the methods and costs of repairing the system, the gasket that failed. And again, I want to defer to Chris on that. But looking to, you know, how do we safely reopen while we look at the bigger picture questions that are involved in this report. That's really where we're at. And lastly, I would just say, you know, the ammonia leak is something we've thought about and worried about and, you know, wanted to be prepared for, and I'm very grateful for our staff. I'm going to give a big shout out to Isabel, who was there that night. You know, the alarms, the exhaust fan, everything functioned as it should have. Yeah, we don't like that it happened, but I am very pleased with how our staff and systems handled it, and that we were prepared to handle it the appropriate way. And I appreciate everyone being out here tonight to talk more about this, I'm sure. So I'll turn it over to Chris.
Yeah. First of all, if anybody knows Rebecca, she would have talked about insects for the rest of the meeting if she had the opportunity. I also want to reiterate, thank you guys all for coming out. It's great to see this much support for the ice arena. Obviously, they care a lot about it. I care a lot about it. Alec cares a lot about it. Isabella was the supervisor on duty. She's here tonight. She's also plays on one of the IU teams, and Peyton was there as well. I don't know if anybody else, we had some ice show instructors that were there that helped as well, so I don't know if any of them are here that were there that night. I kind of want to give you guys the outline of what we're going to talk about today first, so that you know that what we're going to get to, and feel free to stop me at any point if you have questions or anything like that. So we're going to talk about the history of the ice arena a little bit, the community impact, the current conditions, the current system, what the risk management aspect of it is, and what we're working on. The addendum, obviously, is the ammonia leak, and then we'll talk about next steps from here. So it was built in 1966 as an open air facility. It was enclosed in 1988. Before that, it had open air, and there's some funny stories. My dad played there and has told me some funny stories about people sticking their tongues to the posts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad they enclosed it. I'm glad I didn't have to play in an open air facility. In 1996, a feasibility study was conducted due to city administration. I think the mayor at the time recommended, as part of the budget, we're going to close the ice arena and save the money on it. So they conducted a feasibility study. The result suggested a new facility be considered to replace the Frank Southern Ice Arena due to the demand in the area. Partnerships and RFPs were explored, but ultimately enough funding was not available to build a new ice arena. The funding that had been collected through some generous donations through the likes of Phil Hill funded renovations including the lobby and a new compressor, as well as the HVAC system repairs and roof repairs. The community impact. The ice arena serves between 60 and 65,000 annual visitors, including several of the user groups which have shown up tonight. Many of these groups have participants that have been a part of the ice arena from the time they were 5 all the way through high school, and sometimes longer than that. And there's several instances of multiple generations now going through the ice arena. We also host a number of open use and recreational introductory programs. In the master planning survey, 76% of participants expressed willingness to pay for improvements to the ice arena, and 23% strongly supported. Now, part of that master planning process, as you guys know, no numbers were attached to that, so it may be a different conversation when we start talking about how much money people want to pay. The current conditions. We've included the budget numbers in the report. I won't read through that whole piece for you. The slight decrease in cost recovery over the past few years has been due to a variety of factors. We've had a salary study for full-time employees that has changed that a little bit. Annual raises for part-time staff. We moved the ice resurfacer into our operational budget because we have to lease it now instead of using the one that we had before. We had to replace that one. And then just in general, starting to spend money to replace some of the old pieces of the building and trying to fix some things up. We are currently working on some new initiatives to improve the cost recovery rate. You saw those in the fee changes. Some of these include extending the ice season, opening the building in the summer for rentals, working to increase partnerships for sponsorship, naming rights, looking at a shared stewardship model as a possible new model. Along with these initiatives, the entire Parks Department has just gone through training on financial sustainability as part of the master planning process. We are working to review various cost recovery factors, including pricing, usage rates, and partnerships. Our current system, so this is where we get into the details a little bit with everything that happened. We have a direct ammonia-based cooling system. This means that the ammonia gets pushed through the pipes, which cools the concrete and allows it to freeze. Many ice arenas use ammonia as a coolant, and many ice arenas have direct systems, but we are one of the last systems that has a direct ammonia system, meaning all of our ammonia gets pushed through the pipes. So they will use a smaller amount of ammonia to cool glycol that will run through the pipes, or they will use, so that's an indirect system. We're one of the last that has all of that ammonia getting pushed through the pipes, and that's per IB Story, who's the rink consultant that we've been talking to. Any questions so far? Feeling good? Okay. All right, risk management. I know it's a lot, I'm sorry. We've done a ton of work on this. Risk management, understanding the possible risks involved. We've been considering some key factors surrounding risk management with the ice arena. Anhydrous ammonia has been used for many years as a coolant for both ice arenas and in many other industries. It has mature safety standards. There's many standards that have been used for a long time. It was chosen and is still chosen because it is self-alarming at low concentrations. You can smell it at a really low concentration. It's energy efficient, it's lighter than air, which means it's easily ventilated out of a tight, confined area, and it's considered environmentally neutral. It does come with potential risks, obviously. The majority of ammonia leaks result from normal mechanical failure points, like valves or, in this case, gaskets, rather than catastrophic slab failure or due to the direct design specifically, and that's according to the International Ice Ammonia Refrigeration Ammonia Incident Database. Sorry, that was a lot to say. We use a contractor, Deem, who is certified by the IIAR and trained in their ammonia refrigeration management program. They handle all of our inspections as well as startup and shutdown. All adjustments are made and work is done exclusively by them. We don't have staff members going in there trying to figure out or trying to, at home work it out, that kind of thing. So it's all done by a certified contractor. We've installed a new alarm system that is monitored 24/7 by Central Securities. We have EAPs in place that are shared with risk management, MCCSC, and BFD annually. The directive is simple, and the event of an alarm, clear the building, call BFD, and call Deem, and we'll work it from there. Staff is not responsible for anything other than those two pieces. They're not responsible for going in and trying to figure out what's going on, anything like that. Just clearing the building, getting everybody safe, and that's to keep staff and patrons safe. As part of this process, we've been working with Deem to meet the IIAR 9 standards for existing closed-circuit ammonia systems. This standard is designed for systems that operate with more than 10,000 pounds of ammonia. Our ice arena operates with less than half that at 4,125. We have decided to go ahead and try to meet these standards anyway, just as a safety precaution. We'll talk here in a minute about the gap analysis. This is also in the report that you guys can see. We just don't see any reason why we shouldn't just go ahead and meet these standards, even if we're not actually bound to them. Deem has conducted a gap analysis, and we have until December 31st, 2029 to remediate any deficiencies or state why we are unable to do so. Gaps are listed in the report, but include some construction documentation, tagging, connecting our water heater to the e-stop, adding an eye wash station, and adding a ventilation switch outside the mechanical room. So we have one inside the mechanical room, but just adding one outside. The non-admin items, so the admin items are already being worked on. The non-admin items, we estimate the cost at approximately $15,000. Now the addendum on the ammonia leak. On March 10th, a gasket failed, leaking ammonia, setting off the alarm, and kicking on the ventilation system. Ammonia was ventilated out of the system, or out of the facility and mechanical room. The alarm tripped. I was called immediately by our monitoring company, and staff on site began executing the EAP. All patrons and staff were evacuated quickly. BFD and BPD were called, and BFD did a secondary sweep upon arrival just to make sure that everybody was truly out of the building. MCCSC was also notified, and then Deem was called to come down and figure out what was going on. They isolated the leak and declared the building safe. The ammonia was pumped out of the floor back into the tank, and the arena was closed for the ice season. The failure point was not something that was due to the direct ammonia system or age of the system. The gasket is just like any other gasket. It's just a rubber gasket that just happened to fail, just like it would in your car or something like that. So unfortunately, it failed in a more important thing than just a car gasket, but it's just a normal gasket. Obviously, going forward, we're planning on replacing the gaskets and making sure all that stuff's good to go. So in conclusion, the ice arena is at a critical point. The facility hasn't received the necessary capital investment over the years. Last month we met with the risk department to ensure we were on the same page about operating with the appropriate safety precautions. Next steps from them and from our conversations include completing items on the gap analysis, repairing issues caused by the leak, and creating a full comprehensive risk management plan. So we have EAPs in place. And we have a risk management style plan, but the risk management plan is a separate, it has to follow certain standards and documentation steps. Estimated cost for all of these repairs is somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. We think it's going to be a little bit on the lower end of that to do those repairs. Over the past 2 years, we have been meeting with Ivy Story, who's the rink consultant. They're international. They work with NHL rinks and small town rinks and all kinds of rinks. And they've helped us develop a few options. So option number one would be abandoning the Frank Southern Center and building a new facility. Estimated cost for that would be $12 million plus, depending on how we want to go about that. Replacing the entire ammonia system, getting all the ammonia out of the building, going to a glycol-based system. It's a new kind of compressor, pretty state-of-the-art stuff. For that, that would be $3 to $4 million. Replacing the direct cooling system with an indirect system. So this would be going to the system that a lot of other places use where they have a small amount of ammonia that cools the glycol that runs through the floor. That estimated cost would be $1.2 million. I do want to make sure I note on that would mean that we would still have ammonia in the building. It would not be pumped out into the floor. It wouldn't be the same system, but we would still have ammonia in the building. Given the ice arena's impact profile, it is unlikely general fund money will be used to cover the full cost of any of these options. Funding contributions must be pursued from other sources, private individuals, naming rights contracts, partnerships, that kind of thing. And I think that's all I have.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just try to keep my questions short again because we have people that might want to comment. But as maybe for Tim, do you know if there have been any other leaks over the age of the ice arena?
Actually at the start of the year, I had had lunch with the former deputy mayor, Mick Reneisen, and he had said there had been a minor one sometime during his tenure, but he didn't remember when exactly. I want to say that was probably the late 1980s or early 1990s.
Okay. And I know that the Zamboni failed, and so we went to renting. Other than that, I mean, have there been any big costs associated with it? Or, I mean, and other than replacing this system, I guess, has there been other deferred maintenance in there, like we talked about with the pools? Or is this really the focus of what we need to?
The big focus as far as deferred maintenance is this system, because we want it to be as safe as possible. The other things that are included in deferred maintenance is stuff really needs painted. The flooring really needs replaced. It's a lot more, there's a lot of cosmetic stuff that goes into it. Thankfully, overall, while this system is outdated, it's not the system that we would want to, if we were to install something today, we wouldn't want to use it. But the way that the system itself has been taken care of, they have updated a lot of pieces within that. So
Okay.
that's why it's safe. That's why the ventilation system worked the way that it was supposed to and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't, it wasn't dangerous because, not that it wasn't dangerous, but that it wasn't creating a problem because a lot of the system had been updated on that front. Now the pieces that have not been updated in the ice arena are just all of the cosmetic stuff and there's storage issues and locker room issues and all that kind of stuff. So that's where the deferred maintenance comes in.
Okay, all right.
Kathleen, I'd say there were really two major investments in the 2000s, and one came in the early 2000s with some of the money that was donated by the Hill family. During the mayor at the time was interested in shutting down the arena. There was public pushback. There was a whole process by way of the YMCA was contacted, IU was contacted to see about partnership opportunities, the opportunity to build a new rink. As Chris mentioned, there was not the social or fiscal capital at the time to make that happen. And so instead, the donation from the Hills went to renovating the arena. So about $400,000 went in. It replaced the compressor. It did some lobby renovations. At one point, there was a roof failure that caused some insurance dollars over the lobby to be activated from an improper roof installation. And then solar was installed in 2017. So, as Chris mentioned, I think the critical alarm and safety call out and vent fan, all of that stuff has been kept up, which has been really important for safe operations. But we are at a critical junction once again of, the investment from 25 years ago is reaching its end date. We know we have an old facility. The price tag for a new facility is very steep. So we are just really exploring all options. regarding the arena and what we consider with it going forward.
And, oh, sorry, can I just one more quick? Yeah. I see, when, in 1999, when we reached out to the Y and IU, and they both declined to be involved in that, but was IU using the rink back then? I mean, obviously they're using it now, but they were still using it.
We have somebody here that I think played around that time.
Were they? Yeah. Okay.
So he played for IU, and yeah, they were using it.
They were using it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not a Division I program.
Sure.
And I think going forward, I don't want to speak for IU, obviously. If they want to donate money, we'll take it.
Yeah.
But I would say that most likely with all the stuff that's going on with all the players that they're having to pay and all that kind of stuff, I think that it's unlikely at this point that they would be interested in starting a new Division I program right now. It's something that we obviously will connect with them and see if they want to pursue at some point. But I would be surprised if they're wanting to do that right this minute.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah.
So what's the plan for us going forward? This report's helpful and all that, but when are we going to explore alternatives? How's that going to be presented to us, or how's that going to be undertaken?
I think likely what we discussed today, I was just getting back from vacation and getting up to speed on everything that's been going on, is we'll likely have a contract, a fuller picture of exactly what it's looking like to open safely and kind of do status quo, for the next couple of years here. And then I think what we need to do is put together a stakeholder group and really have some serious discussions. It's IU, it's Blades, it's figure skating, it's a lot of the interested parties have some of these discussions and really explore these options laid out in this report for the long term. And certainly the board would be a part of that stakeholder group. I would hope maybe to have representation on it, but then ultimately a decision would come back to the board about which direction we want to pursue as well.
Yeah, I guess from my standpoint, without having much information other than this and having lived in Bloomington for 45 years, is that I think the ice rink's a valuable asset to the community. I think the current ice rink that we have is well below standard. I think that this is a community that should have a better ice rink. And I guess I would generally, again, without a lot of knowledge or having looked at it or having heard from anybody, I'm less interested in putting money into the ice rink we have and more interested in looking what other alternatives we have out there. And I know that IU was, that's 27 years ago that we asked them if they wanted to be. Now, I understand NIL and everything else, but I also understand what I saw during the Winter Olympics with hockey. I also know that Title IX is still an issue, and women's hockey is more and more popular. Even if we didn't have a men's Division I program, it seems to me a women's hockey team would be something that IU might be interested in. And it seems to me that, I would be in favor in going into significant explorations on a new ice rink, partnering with somebody, whether that's IU, whether that's somebody, an entity like Cook, or a minor league team, or getting a Lilly grant, or fundraising on our own, or any kind of bonds that we could do, would seem to me a much better use of our money than continuing to put money into an ice rink that I think is not, it's better than nothing, but I'm not sure, and these people out here know better than I do. I'm not an ice skater or a hockey player or anything else like that, but I'm not sure it's a whole lot better than nothing. It's a little bit better than nothing. So I would be in favor of significantly exploring what other options we have to build in partnership, more than likely, an ice arena or ice facility that could be used by the public, could be used by the university, and other purposes. So
I want to say, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with the we're at the point now where we have to make that decision, right? Like, do we put more money into the ice arena the way it is and try to fix up what we have, or do we pursue something else? And I think that's, when Tim says we're at a critical juncture, I think that's what he means. Like it's,
To me, we're just throwing good money after bad by
Yeah.
putting it into
Right.
this facility.
Right. Yeah.
I'd rather put it towards I'm not at all for closing down and not having a nice facility, far from it, and I'd keep what we've got before I'd go to that route. But I think we're much better looking at options. And again, it's hard to believe because I remember when it was getting ready to be closed the first time, but that's 25, 26, 27 years ago that things have changed since that time. So that's my 2 cents worth.
And Jim, I agree as well, and I think importantly, that's why we wanted to make this report and put it out there and really get this in the public eye, because what we can't do is we can't just continue to say, okay, well, we can't figure it out right now.
Yeah.
We'll just do the bare minimum repairs, make sure it's at least safe, right? I mean, that's a minimum standard we're always going to hold ourselves to. And then not make a decision for years and years and years. So I think, certainly looking at the immediate investment needed to, respond to the leak and replace the gasket and make sure that stuff's good is stuff we want to do. Because whatever decision we come to on this, and legitimately all three of the options on here, there may be variations of those options as well, but they're all valid. And they're all worth exploring, and that's why we wanted to put this out there as an informational report right now. Not with a recommendation, because we need to have time, we need to have a public process, and a chance for stakeholders to be involved as well. So that's why this report is public. I'm happy to have it out there. I'm happy for people to review it, share it, talk about it. Great. I would love for this to be in the public eye.
Okay. Any other comments from board members before we go to public comment?
Covered mine.
Yeah. Okay.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Tim. Okay, then in our section E, anyone who in person would like to comment, we usually offer 2 minutes and ask you to come up to the podium, state your name, and then Kim will see if we have any online comments as well. Do we still have a sign-in sheet for people to? Yes, we do. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so anyone who would like to comment on anything we've discussed or any other parks issues? All right, get it started.
Hey, I was not prepared to speak, but I'm going to do it anyway. My name is Mark Deitch. I've been a long user of the Frank Southern Center since I believe it was 1978. I'm from Indy. I drove down from Fishers tonight. I'm currently one of the coaches, or I'm the head coach of the D3 IU club team. I worked at the Frank for 5 years during my college time here. So this rink is kind of a second home for me, as is this town. We have a pretty good representation here. Several guys that I've coached from the other team. I really wanted to mention how successful those teams are. One of the teams won nationals 2 years ago. The team I coach did very well, and really the one I wanted to focus on here the most was the women's team. And not only that, but there are girls from Bloomington who are Bloomington residents that make up that team. And they're very excited. They're trending up. They went from just kind of a group to being an ACHA official team now, which just happened this year. But bottom line is we need this rink badly. Obviously, best case scenario, we got a big, nice 2-pad facility. We know that that's very difficult, but there are so many opportunities. I am involved with the ACHA, which is the governing body of club hockey, and they have come to me the last 2 years looking for help to find a facility to host regional tournaments. And I helped them 2 years ago, or the season before last, have it down in Evansville. Would love to have done it here. We just don't have a facility for something like that. But the need is there, the want is there, obviously, as we progress on. I think
Sorry to cut you off. That is 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to comment? Yes, come on up.
If anyone online would like to make a comment also, if you
My
would
name is Jushin
raise your
Chen,
hand icon.
And I moved in Bloomington 11 years ago, and I have 2 daughters. Both of them are figure skater. And actually, this is not the only reason, but this is one reason. I had been homemaker for a few years to support my husband. My husband is a faculty in IU, and my 2 daughters to skate year-round in Columbus. So during this difficult journey, we've been coupled with many families. Some kids, they are really talented figure skaters, but because the efforts put in the community to Columbus, they quitted. So it's really, so if we have this kind, it will make a big difference in figure skating community. Yeah, so that's my point. So year-round rink, so we will have cultivate a beautiful ice skating community. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes. Anyone else who'd like to comment?
You go. I'm still talking.
My name's Allison Norris. I have 2 young boys that are involved in blades, and then my 3-year-old tags along quite a bit and will probably skate when he's a little bit older. The kids that play hockey at Frank Southern, they spend their summers traveling to Columbus, traveling to Indy to try and get a little bit of ice time. It's a really long drive for an hour in the summer. But even just discussing with them the possibility that the Frank doesn't exist anymore, that they don't have an ice rink, they don't just want to play hockey, they want to play hockey in Bloomington. They want to be home, they want to be here.
Yeah.
And they deserve a good facility. You know, we travel all over to small towns all over Ohio, and so, you know, South Bend, I think, just got a 5th sheet. You know, and it's like, can we get one? Like, one full-size sheet would be glorious. But so I really appreciate your attention to this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Kind of loud. Amy Morwick, and thanks again for listening to this. We really do appreciate it. I am speaking as somebody who has spent over 30 years coaching gymnastics, so in Bloomington. So I've witnessed how sports can shape confidence, resilience, character. And then for the past 10 years, I've also been deeply involved with the Blades as a parent, team manager, board member, and of course a fan of all of it. And then through that lens, I can tell you that Bloomington's ice skating rink is far more than a facility. It's a community hub, a character building space, and a place where lifelong friendships and family traditions flourish. As I'm sure you can all hear and attest from people talking. It's also a place where our youth gets to experience IU and those players when they come into the rink. It's pretty unique in that way. So over the years, I've watched countless kids grow into remarkable young adults because of the opportunities provided at the rink, both in hockey and in figure skating. Our players and skaters deeply value every minute on the ice, and they do not take it for granted. This past year, our high school hockey team had a slow start to the season, but through grit and perseverance, they came together, ultimately reaching the state finals, which is really cool. And then for those players, every second on the ice, every moment with their teammates mattered. And for the community, it meant celebrating pride, teamwork, and dedication. I could go on, and I'm going to keep it shorter, but basically, the other day I was in the rink and I was seeing all the different, when somebody mentioned generational, it is so true. I sat there and watched, like, grandparents came and talked to me about how they remember watching their kids play there, and now their grandkids are playing. At the same time, I watched a 3v3 adult tournament happening that was so awesome, and the families were coming in to watch those. And nobody got hurt, I don't think, so that was good. Good old leagues there. And you know, just even like during the day, like there's open skates, hockey drop-ins, college kids that get to come in. So anyways, we love our rink. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. right.
And I'm going to ask for everybody to hold on for just a moment. I'm going to take one from online, okay? Claire, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and give you an opportunity.
Hi, sorry, we got so many mixed messages today about the time. I would have been there myself. I'm Claire Walzak. I am part of the Bloomington Figure Skating Club. I have skated at the rink for 20 years with my family. Both my kids were part of this club. I was the president of the club for 4 years, and now that I'm an empty nester, I am an avid figure skater myself. This is part of the community. More than once, we have gone and tried to get a group of people for support. We need a new rink. I don't know how many people know, but Jill Watson, an Olympic medalist, started in Bloomington at the Frank Southern Arena. What I'd like to bring up, though, is we also need an interim plan. Our club is just recovering now from COVID. The IU Figure Skating Club almost dismantled, and the current administration there has rebuilt that club, and it's shining. I love IU women's hockey and all the groups. If we don't have an interim plan to keep figure skating going, all of these clubs will suffer. So we need both a short-term plan and a long-term plan. We need to do something to get that rink back open in the fall while exploring the longer-term opportunities. And with the Evansville, Bloomington and IU were approached about getting one of the minor league teams. And once again, IU said no. So that's all.
All right, thank you.
I think Amy and Claire kind of took a lot of the things that I was thinking of saying. I don't have anything planned. My name is Jen Campanella, and I have been coaching with the Bloomington Figure Skating Club since 2004, and I started heading the Learn to Skate program that we run in 2008 after my daughter was born, 2009. But I've been involved with that ever since I moved back to Bloomington. We have driven 5 days a week over to Columbus for my daughter to skate. It's super challenging for families, but it's such a community. Our Learn to Skate program, the skating school, typically I anticipate every year in the fall, registration around 250 skaters, and in the winter we bump up to about 350. And you know, it helps when there are Olympics happening. But to see the families, and then at the end of the season, families in the skating school will come to me, and parents say, so when is registration for the next session? And I have to tell them in October, and the look on their faces when they're not really familiar with the rink. But it's been amazing to see the community stick together and continue moving forward with what we have. But I agree with everybody that has spoken already. I can't say it enough. This community is tight-knit, I think, and I think that it has plenty of room to grow if given the opportunity, and to become even closer. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, any other public comment?
Dylan, I'm
Yes.
going to ask you to unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. My name is Dylan Frecken. I'm the current head coach of the IU Women's Club team. I've been a head coach within the youth program for a number of years here in town, as well as the JV high school team recently, and as I said, now the IU women's team. And yeah, I just want to chime in and agree with comments made earlier, specifically for the women's program. You know, with the Professional Women's Hockey League gaining a lot of traction, as well as the success we've seen with Team USA in the Olympics, women's hockey, I would argue, has never been more popular. Speaking specifically for our team, we have more players who have reached out, high school players who are wanting to come to IU, who have reached out about playing here next season than we currently have on our roster today. Our goalie was a Division I commit at Penn State, who was just in the Frozen Four this weekend, who currently plays for our team. And I just think women's hockey, young girls in Bloomington and the state of Indiana, they deserve this opportunity. They deserve this moment. The sport of hockey deserves this moment, deserves this opportunity. And, you know, in my time with the Blades, coming from Michigan, where I had hockey rinks everywhere, the best word I can describe the Bloomington hockey community is overachievers. The success that the Blades program has seen is in spite of the rink, and it's because of the families, the kids, the coaches, and the love for the sport. And it's time that we give those families, those players, that community facility that they deserve, that they've wanted for years to achieve the potential that they've always had. And as the coach of the women's program, I'm really excited to be a part of that. And I'm just really grateful that this conversation's being had. So thank you, and I'm excited for the future of hockey in Bloomington if we can all come together to do what's right.
Okay, thank you, Dylan. All right, any other online comments or in-person comments? Okay.
Mia, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, please.
Hi, I was not prepared to speak today, but I did want to share a little bit about how important the Frank has been to me in my time in Bloomington. I came here when I was around 8 years old, and I've been skating at the Frank ever since. I started with the skating school, and Jen was actually my first skating coach. So hi, Jen. And then I just continued with the Bloomington Figure Skating Club, and now I'm on the exec board of the IU Figure Skating Club. And I've watched this rink go through many seasons, but it's been such a home to me, and I've built so many friendships and such a wonderful community and a family. We just recently had built our IU figure skating team back up after COVID and started competing again, and we just got back from a competition in Wisconsin, and it's a really great environment, and yeah, we definitely have a community that would benefit from a new rink, and yeah.
All right, thank you, Mia. All right, any other comments? Yes.
Hi, I'm Sarah Powers, and I'm the president of the Bloomington Blades Youth Hockey Program. And I just want to share similar stories that everyone has about how we just love our rink and our community. And it's really time that we invest more in that resource. This past year, COVID hit us hard as well, just like it did the figure skating club. And this past year, my son actually had to play in Columbus for his final year of youth hockey. Because we just didn't have the players, because the resource hasn't been there, so it's hard to grow that community. So I appreciate that you're giving this attention and support, and I appreciate Tim and Alec and Chris and all of their hard work. So just want to say thanks.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Wendy Westfall. I have 3 boys. They've all gone through the Learn to Skate program with Jen, who's done a wonderful job. My boys started, the oldest is now 19 and joined the figure skating club. And it's just been a wonderful experience. He started when he was 3, I think, and we've gone every year, and we love it. I just wanted to echo what Claire said about needing an interim solution, not that the rink is closed while a new one is being built, because I agree that all that momentum would get lost, and when something is ended, it's very hard to get the momentum and start it up again and make it financially feasible. So if there's a way that that can be continued. And I also agree with what others have said, that it would be nice to have something that's open year-round. It's obvious, why that's not possible. And finally, I don't know how the logistics work with skating and renting the ice time, but it does feel like there's a lot of competition for who has what hours on the ice. And if there's a way to address that with a new facility, that would be wonderful too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other in-person comments this evening?
Hi, my name's Amy Mason, and I've been coming to the rink for a long time with my 3 children. I have a son who just graduated, or who's about ready to graduate, who was with the Blades, and a son who is a rising senior who is highly concerned about his senior year with the Blades. I have a question. So what happens from here? You see, this is such a small, like, support here. We've got so much power. Like, we will help you. Like, what do we do from here, and how are you going to use us? Because, I mean, I'm ready. Like, let's go. Let's build a new rink. All these people know, we've been talking about it for years, but what can we do? I want to know, action. What can we do right now?
Okay. Can we get some donations from all those people who watch Heated Rivalry?
Oh my gosh, it's such a great show.
Okay. All right. Tim, do you want to answer where do we go from here?
I think, public comment is not a Q&A as much, but I can
Okay,
address
sorry.
a little.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No.
I'm excited.
I want you to know. I'm happy to address a little bit of that in my closing remarks when we finish public comment, I think.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yes.
Hi, I also wasn't planning on necessarily speaking or having anything prepared, but my name is Danielle Shaper. I'm actually speaking on the last point about making sure that we only have a small fraction of people represented here. I actually am a member of the roller derby team here in town. I'm a skater, a coach, and on the board of directors for it. And I just want to say that I moved here from a small town in New Mexico, and I've been at every county council meeting there because we had issues with space. This summer, the Bloomington roller derby team is renting the Frank's Ice Arena for our home season, and we are so excited to be able to have that opportunity. My last league, I've watched roller derby leagues time and time again collapse and fail to not have a venue, and so having a venue like this is extremely important. And I just want to say that there's a lot of support for having an ice rink that also has, the ability to rent a concrete pad. Not only because, the derby team here in town has been seeing a large amount of growth in the last few years, but I also want to say the opposite of sort of the multi-generational legacy that we've seen here. I moved here in 2024, and the best thing about coming here is knowing that I had a roller derby league to land in, because we all know, those who play team sports, it's not just the sport you play, but the community you find in that, right? So a few years ago, my mother got very sick. I had to clean out an entire house full of decades of things, and an entire roller derby team descended and helped me haul all that stuff out, right? An entire roller derby team descended and helped me scrub 50 years of nicotine off the walls kind of thing, right? I move here, and I got an email from the roller derby team saying, we can help you unload your U-Haul. When the first day I was here, that derby team was unloading my truck and so forth with me. And I just want to say that the community that we find is very important. And so this ice rink, like they've said, is not just these programs you see here. There are other populations too that really, really care about it. And I just want to thank you for your time and your attention on this, and because it is so important to so many of these communities that, like the last speaker said, just a tiny fraction of the people that are affected by these, and the community that we see is shown here today. So thank you so much for your time with this matter.
Thank you. All right. Any other online or in person?
Hi, my name is Scott Coffin. I was not prepared to speak today as well, but I just wanted to say that I'm not a coach, I'm not a parent, I'm not an organizer. I'm a participant. I've played hockey since as long as I can remember. I learned how to skate before I learned how to read, as I say often. I'm also a Bloomington bike polo participant. We're going to be using Frank Southern this summer, and I just wanted to say that the facility is very important to me, and I hope that we can find an interim plan for the facility as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Is there anyone else online who would like to make a comment? If so, please raise your hand icon.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, then we might go back to Tim Street to address the question of maybe next steps.
Sure. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for being here tonight, or for being here online. I always really appreciate when we get the public out. One of our main goals as a Parks and Recreation Department is to enhance the quality of life in Bloomington and have meaningful community impacts, and I think we see that when the community comes out and talks about what it is that's important to them. This meeting, it's the ice arena, other meetings we hear other aspects as well, and it's always really great to hear. So as always, thank you for we always have to do our agenda before we get to the public comment, so thanks for sitting through a slice of the Parks Department as well. Of course, we'll have our next Park Board meeting on April 16th, which is back to our normal time, which is Thursday at 5 p.m. We're a little off our schedule this week because of spring break. And you can certainly come in person or give public comment again or tune in online to see what next steps there might be. I don't have really concrete next steps right now to offer, other than to say we really wanted to get this information out there and work on it and explore these options. But certainly to anyone here tonight or anyone who catches wind of this later, we need the public engagement. Certainly, and we'll have opportunities. You can reach out to myself, to Keto, who's our sports director, to Chris or Alec at the arena, or at the pools. You might find them there this summer when they switch to the other half of what they're doing. But more to come, I think is really my next step now, and stay tuned. And I really think we want to have a stakeholder group really explore the options that we've put in this report. So more to come on that. In terms of just my closing announcements for the end of the meeting, I'll mention back to natural resources. Our prescribed fire is happening at Griffey tomorrow, unless the weather changes significantly between now and then. So we're excited for the natural resource enhancement happening out there tomorrow. We are really busy gearing up for a lot of events. As you heard about the Grand Falloon Concert Series, we're really excited about those concerts. I would expect IU to start some heavy publicity for those now that the partnership is formalized, and they can make sure to finalize all the bookings and everything. I know they've been talking with some really exciting names for those concerts that I'm excited to get out there. The first weekend in April is coming up, and that's a big weekend for us. The Griffey Boathouse will open. It's the first Food Truck Friday. It's the first Bloomington Community Farmers Market, and Parks will be tabling there, and you can always come talk to us there as well. There's a dog egg hunt in the dog park at Switchyard that Saturday, so a lot of different things going on. And of course, we're excited to announce our Performing Arts Series coming up soon with the new program guide in April, and through our publicity as well. So our next meeting will be April 16th. We anticipate presenting the draft master plan to the board. That's obviously been wrapped up and will influence a lot of big decisions we're making, not just about the ice arena, but about other investments and financial sustainability in what we have as well. So that said, thank you for coming tonight, and we will see you all next time.
Right, and thank you very much to everyone people who spoke and people who just came out in support. It really helps us to see that concern and that love that you have for the ice arena. So thank you. And with that, I'll adjourn the Bloomington Board of Park Commissioners March meeting.